Okay, great. So I'm very excited to be here. So what I'll be talking about today, obviously you have been hearing more and more about BYOD. So hopefully everybody knows it stands for Bring Your Own Device. But what I want you to start thinking about is, okay, so employees bring their own device, but what next, right? Like it doesn't end there. Like BYOD is not just a strategy, right? There are a lot of other things that you have to have in place in order to enable this. So I will be talking about how to secure your mobile assets, make sure that you are able to enable each and every employee's personal device in order to get your enterprise infrastructure elements, your email, applications, content. So how can you do that? I just want you to think about things like that. So today, if you look at it, and if you look at the, just take any mobile device, it is probably the single most behavior-altering device that we have ever had, if you think about it. Because people carry it around. You probably just cannot live with it. You use it as your alarm, as your personal assistant. I'm looking around the room, and a lot of people are already staring at their mobile devices. It's like something that you just cannot get away from. And what is happening is because of the wide amount of consumerization that we have had, almost each and every single enterprise which is existing today, there's no denying the fact that employees are going to bring in their personal device. There's nothing you can do to stop it. I was talking to one of our airline customers, and they said that though iPads and these kind of personal devices are not allowed on commercial flights today by the DGCA, there's nothing this airline customer can do to prevent their actual pilots from carrying on their iPads. Because the pilot is I don't want to look at this black and white or monochromatic screen when I have a beautiful iPad display and I can just track my flight on my iPad. So if commercial airlines are having this issue, I just want you to just take a minute to think about how you are handling this in your enterprise. So if you look at the key trends that have been going on, okay, so one of the things that I want you to look at, how was enterprise mobility handled in the past? How was BYOD handled? You had very simple requirements because it was a lot simpler world at that time. You had requirements to maybe do a simple passcode lock and just wipe the device completely. You don't care about the employee's personal information on the device, and then maybe you want to locate the device, and that was it. But if you look at it today, there's a lot more advanced features and functionality that is expected by every employee, and they actually need these features to be able to do their jobs on a daily basis. Things like they want your application, they want some kind of application security, they want email on their device, but also you have to think about being an enterprise. How do you secure all of these, right? So you just don't want to deploy an application or an email, and then when the employee walks out of the company, they carry that email attachment with them, right? That probably will not work. And if you look at how things are going into the future, this kind of trend, if you just project it out, we are looking at a total systems consolidation. And so we are going to bring, or rather the market is going to bring all applications, the email, containerization. And containerization is a huge aspect. Some of you may know it as data leakage prevention or DLP. So this is just a strategy around that. So we are already moving in that direction. And according to a Forrester study, the number of mobile phones will exceed the world population by 2014. So if you look at it in terms of what this means for the enterprise, what is the impact? So yes, of course, so say that your employees are bringing in their personal devices, but what if their device is jailbroken or rooted? So now that becomes a huge security liability for your organization, right? So you have to have, I think, ways to control this, or at least know which are the devices that are jailbroken or rooted so you can take a call. And other than that, what if an employee doesn't have a simple thing as passcode or encryption on their device? Say they're sitting and reading work email in a coffee shop, and then they just walk outside and they forget their device. What if there's no passcode policy and you don't know that it is enforced? Now anybody can pick up their device and they can read your email, they can forward it to somebody else. So this is a huge liability. So that is something that we would like to think of as part of the BYOD lifecycle management. So if I think about BYOD lifecycle management, what as the end user, because I myself am carrying my personal device to work at AirWatch, so what do I want? I want to make sure that, let's say I want to enable my device in the enterprise. I don't want to sit and read a 15 or 20-page, document which explains, okay, enter this server ID, enter this, enter that. And especially like, considering that I just joined the organization, it's my first, like 1 or 2 days. I want to make sure that, my boss likes me, things like that. I cannot sit and worry about actually entering server information. So I just want to do a simple, one-step registration process. And I would ideally like all of the things to get automatically pushed onto my device for me, meaning the IT admin has done his homework, and all I have to do is just worry about, oh, am I doing the right steps to register this device? And even if the company, let's say, moves on to another email server, they move from Exchange 2007 to 2010, let's say, I don't want to know what is happening. I just want it to be seamless. At the end of the day, when my manager is sending me some urgent email, I just want to get the email. I don't want to worry about, oh yeah, they're changing servers, etc. So as an end user, it should be a seamless experience. And let's say the device is lost or stolen, God forbid, I should also be able to track the device, wipe the device, but also make sure that the corporate and personal information is separated on my device so that an IT admin doesn't wipe my personal information, for example. So this is what we have. And if you look at a BYOD program, what are the the benefits for the organization and the employees? Employees, obviously, who want the latest and greatest devices, they are able to carry their devices to work, and probably they are more productive using a physical keyboard, rather than the devices that the organization is assigning to them. Or, you as the organization can probably save on those costs of having to purchase, devices for the employee. And in terms of, privacy and transparency also, there is something that is very required, because your employees need to have the peace of mind that, okay, you know what, my information is secure, but I know that my organization is not exactly snooping on my personal data. So this, I think, will be some of the benefits on both sides. It would be a win-win situation. But if you look at how to secure mobile devices, there is a lot of complexity involved. Because number one, you have to know how to, let's say, recognize, how to identify compromised devices, and how to manage those devices. But also, how do you get access to that particular device? How do you get email access? How can you push your applications down to that device? And then how can you, let's say you want to use Active Directory. I'm sure most people use Active Directory. Now, why create an additional password on the device when you can just reuse your Active Directory credentials and then just use that to authenticate your user? Or being able to push down content on the device. There's something called app wrapping as well. So you just containerize your enterprise applications. You leave your personal applications alone. So let's say the guy goes home from work. His 5-year-old daughter is playing with the device. If she by mistake, accesses one of the enterprise applications, it's protected with a password. Okay, so these are things that I would like you to think about today. Coming to what is the key enabler for BYOD programs, that would be EMM, or Enterprise Mobility Management. Okay, now what this allows, and these are the 5 pillars of enterprise, any typical enterprise mobility management program that I would like you to think about, because you have to be able to support all the major operating systems. What if the user brings in an iOS device or an Android device, or their personal preference is Windows Phone 8? So you have to be able to support all of these multiple devices, or they might want to work on a tablet, or they might want to bring their own laptop to work, etc. So, but also in terms of liability, it would be great if the employee could actually read through a set of terms and conditions that they have to accept before they proceed, so that you know that the employee has actually read through it. They are aware that you'll be tracking their GPS, or that you will have control of their device in terms of applications, and also from a security perspective as well. So all of these things are very critical. You also have to enable your employees to do some level of self-service on the device, so you don't increase the overhead on IT. If you have to go out and hire 10 or 20 more people to manage your devices, then that's probably not very efficient for you. You have to, I think, or you want to rather work with the framework that you already have. So in terms of the technology platform, this is where AirWatch comes in, and this is where AirWatch can help. We have the concept of security. We have the concept of multi-tenancy. So say you have different users in different groups, either split up functionally or by geography. You have North India, South India, etc. You may want to have visibility into which region does this user belong to, or which branch is this user in. And you have to be able to manage that user accordingly because, I mean, maybe a user in sales has different requirements or different applications that they need than a user who's in marketing or HR. So what we can do is help you from the enterprise side to be able to integrate with your enterprise infrastructure elements. Say you have an email server, something like that. So that is something that I want you to think about. What kind of integration will be needed? Maybe you want your Active Directory integrated, or you want application server or content server, etc. But also on the device side, there are several modules that can help you as well. We have the device management, we have application management, we have content management and email management. And some of our biggest customers like GE in India is like deploying AirWatch for all their BYOD requirements. So just having worked with some of these customers, I think we are able to understand that it's not just about a simple lock and wipe alone, but they're actually looking at it more holistically. So there needs to be a proper platform integration and privacy framework, but you also have to have very robust reporting and monitoring capabilities as well. So in terms of some best practices that I would like for you to consider or think about, of course, number one would be how can you support iOS, Android, Symbian, BlackBerry, Windows Phone, Windows Mobile, laptops, Mac, any Zebra printers or any peripherals that you have. So I want you to at least consider the fact that all of these devices might have to be managed. And if these devices are managed, the personal and corporate information probably needs to be separate. So the user can have the peace of mind, okay, even if I leave the organization, nobody will be able to wipe all of my personal data. They can only wipe my corporate data. Apart from that, you also want to be able to enable like data loss prevention or DLP. So let's say they get an email. You don't want them saving their attachment on the device and then walking away with it tomorrow. You also want to have the peace of mind that, okay, there's no way this person can save this attachment directly on their device. It has to go into a secure container, which I have control over. And then another thing, of course, is the ability to enforce compliance. Let's say that you want a user to, based on the action, you want the reaction to be on the same level. If they have something small, like they're installing Facebook or Angry Birds, something like that, which, like a lot of people's favorite game, you don't want them to play it while they're at work. Then, of course, I want you to think about how to limit them from doing that only when they're at work. Okay, so I mean, like this, you also have the concept of being able to deploy your content, any video files, audio files you want for training, things like that. So these are some of the best practices, that would be ideal from an enterprise mobility management strategy. So this is where AirWatch can come in. And of course, we are outside right by the booth. So if you want to come over and talk to us, that's great. So AirWatch today has over 7,000 customers all across the world. And of course, we do have a strong presence with over 1,300 employees. In India, we have 200 employees and growing very rapidly. So we are here to definitely support you. And we are able to support all the major operating systems in the market, such as iOS, Android, Symbian, BlackBerry, Windows Phone, Windows Mobile, laptops, desktops, Mac. And these can be smartphones or tablets. We are able to support them all. We have our own proprietary content management solution called Secure Content Locker. And this application is available for free on the App Store or Google Play Store. Apart from that, of course, we also have our email management and application management capabilities. So definitely we can help you keep the personal and corporate information separate. And finally, our mission is to simplify enterprise mobility. Thanks a lot for your time. If you have any further questions, we'll be right outside. So thanks a lot.